Okay, so I just got done watching one of my own videos here, driving by all these closed down businesses and all these unique places, and the next on the feed is this channel. Now this is Vladimir Zelensky, and then this is another gentleman talking with him, and then there's a group of people here. Now I'm screen recording this, so everything you see out of this bubble here is from the camera on my phone. And so when I touch this and I move this around, that's just me dragging my... Look. Okay. Look. So here I am in a mirror. Look. So that's just me grabbing the phone with my hand and touching on the spot where, obviously, where the camera is viewing my picture. And so that's how this works. So screen record, you can hit a button and then there's a microphone or only system sound, so you're just recording what you see on your screen. So, and that can be different from device to device, right? So the first thing we're going to do is hit the sub-menu button. We're going to pull up the sub-menu. We're going to hit share. We're going to see if we can see this link clearly, right? And so we can see the link clearly at the bottom left-hand side of the screen. If you look, there's this little bar right here that popped up, and it shows all the different, so it shows the YouTube link for this channel. And so we're going to click on the icon, the picture icon that you see in a little circle. And I moved my hand down, I moved the camera down. So it's that little icon right there. So that is the profile picture of this video channel. And this is the thumbnail picture of the video channel. And so it's all in a different language here. Everything else appears to be in English except for this one channel. So now I'm going to go boop. So we clicked on the channel. So this is the official channel for the office of the President of Ukraine, right? So now we're going to just go back because we want to see if that same video pop up, right? And it didn't. But look. So now it's all the normal stuff. And then I don't know if Donald Trump had enough time to go and visit Joe Rogan in between flipping fries and getting into a garbage truck and all that. So we're not going to get into that. We're not going to dive into that craziness. We're just going to back out. This is everything I see on my screen, okay? We'll just go through the feed. It doesn't pop up again, right? So we're going to hit this button again. We're going to go back to the history. We'll go back through. And then here's the channel. Again, here's that channel. And this is the conference on the human dimension. The ministerial conference on the human dimension that happened in Montreal, Canada, the 30th and the 31st of last month. Now, it's important to note, I'm a real person. This is a mirror. This is my head. There's all sorts of things, and obviously technology is going to get better and better so that there's glimmer of light and all that shit. There's all sorts of weird shit that I can show you that clearly. Watch, I'll turn on. So I turn on the flashlight of my phone. And so I'll hold one part of the phone up right here. There's a mirror that folds out. And then here's a mirror that folds out. So you can see that's a phone I'm holding in my hand. I'm holding a phone in my hand. Okay? You see that? So that's a 360-degree orbital of the front camera. It's only 5 megapixels. It's not spectacular. But clearly, I'm proving that I'm using a cell phone. I know everybody's going to look to the type of Android or whatever. Realize that all the phones can work in unison for security measures, too. And so that's another thing, spontaneous awareness from all Android devices. Simultaneously, there's 3.2 billion in use right now. That means that the cell phone service is being paid for. But on top of that, there's probably another 2 billion or 3 billion that can still hook up to networks regardless whether you have them hooked up to Wi-Fi or not, which I have this hooked up to Wi-Fi. But they could still, even if you don't have the passcode and all that stuff, they could still scan for a Wi-Fi signal, and then they still have connectivity to the internet because of the feature of contacting 911. I'm getting tongue-tied. Why do they have that even if the cell phone service is cut off? Well, because the cell phones have to be able to dial 911. And if you can dial 911 on a cell phone, you can send a text message. If you can send a text message, you can send a picture message, which means that there's always the ability for a device to send back. So all these devices can be working in unison as well. That's just another important part, because if there's something that's gotten out of control, which it kind of looks like, it could either, these devices could help or hurt us in this circumstance, right? And so when we click on this channel, the only reason why I bring that up is because the levels of computer power that would be needed to alter a channel in real time is quite a bit. And I don't know if like a supercomputer at the FBI can do it or anything like. I'm not saying that they would be directly responsible for this, but there's a possibility of possibilities, right? And so why would it have a completely different name, and then when you click on it, it's in English? Like, it's just as simple. It should show up the same when you click on the channel. So it does not. And so when I click on this, and I click on this, and I'm going to have Google translate what. So it says it's Ukrainian, okay? But it's important to note that if it's Ukrainian and they're speaking Ukrainian, and then this is all Ukrainian, throughout this entire conference, look, who is that individual? Are they associated with the United States? Which representative is this? And if so, because she's clearly speaking into a microphone, there might be something here. When I look closer, there's a headset sitting right there. Look, there's the headset sitting on her desk. So you'd think that she'd have to be wearing the headset in order to communicate with somebody, because she speaks it probably in English. So who's to say that because the person right next to her is the person from the Republic of Korea. And so there's North and South Korea. There's not a Republic of Korea. And Korea was split up with the 33rd parallel, and then that whole conflict and confrontation that was perpetuated by many different countries simultaneously. There's always somebody sitting in the middle of all these countries waiting to start a war just to make money. That's how that works. 90% of everybody has nothing to do with that. There's a whole group of people who just kick it in the cut. That's not me. I don't got a lot of money. I've got just barely enough money to take care of myself. Kind of, sort of, in a place with extreme abundance. It is amazing. Okay, even today I tried to apply for a couple jobs, and there's always a reason why I can't work. And it's very unique. Because any of those jobs I would do very good at, and they need help. So it's a failing proposition that they don't hire people. Anyways, long story on that. The headphones to be able to translate what is being said is sitting on the desk. Here they are. All their headphones are sitting on the desks. Some of them don't even have that. This guy, he doesn't have headphones on. No cords hanging from the neck. No headphones. Oh, wait. There they are right there. So there's his headphones. So why don't they need headphones on? They've got the headphones to hear what is being said in other languages. but they're not using them, and they're all speaking to each other through microphones simultaneously. You know, they're taking time to speak, but how would they know what they're saying if they're not wearing the translation headphones? I mean, it's just that simple, right? Because there's the translation headphones right there. So, anyways, and then this guy doesn't have, or look, there they are. And then he's not wearing them. You notice that? And then this person is not wearing them. And they're all speaking the same language somehow, or it's all whatever audio that we're hearing. And this was live streamed. So it's important to note that if it was live streamed. So live streams typically are done with cameras, just like what's going on right now. I'm just screen recording everything. And as the camera sees images, it just captures the images. And when you're done with your live stream, it takes longer to process the video. So I don't know if it's possible to alter a video in real time through a live stream to make it look like something else. And this is the conference on the what does it say? Some sort of conference in Canada on the human dimension. The ministerial conference on the human dimension in Montreal, Canada, the 30th and 31st of last month. Nowhere on NBC it says that. Nowhere on any other channel it says that. There's apparently a lot of people from a lot of different countries. If you look, there is Panama, United Kingdom, that lady from the United States, which I've never seen her as a representative before. I don't know what kind of representative we have from the United States that looks like that. You'd think Anthony Blinken or somebody like that would be there. Lithuania, Latvia, there's Switzerland, France, United Arab Emirates. Again, and they all have their headsets sitting on the tables, or they're absent of having these headsets. So, Estonia, Qatar, Chile, Albania, 4 slots for Ukraine, 5 slots for Ukraine. No Vladimir Zelensky. Norway, this guy, look, they're all speaking in the same language, but his headset is just sitting there. His headset is there. They're all speaking in what appears to be Ukrainian or Russian. It's hard for me to differentiate because I speak English. I've heard some words and stuff like that in both languages. It sounds the same. I'm not trying to be rude or anything, okay? And the letter number combination of 6s, lowercase a's, n's, what looks like a staple N, backwards N with a hyphen above it, so on and so forth. And then that O, as you can see, there's an O in that word right there, with a straight up and down line through it. So again, I don't know what's going on. I don't know if this is an internet hoax, a big joke. You know, it is entirely possible to localize one person's, everything on their cell phone and just make them see one particular thing. So this could all be just hoaxing me or something. And if it is, it's not funny. And 90% of Americans and 90% of people in other countries have had nothing to do with all the shenanigans of the wars and all the problems and the gluttony and the international companies that want to do whatever they want. And Elon Musk is trying to, Neuralink everybody, and 90% of people on the lower half of life, on the lower income spectrum, have not had any control over those people and their narcissistic tendencies to, get people to swear to go and defend the country like they do. They get you to, if you go into the army or whatever, military force in the United States, they get you to swear to protect, the country and the motherland and all that. And then you get sent, I've never been sent out, I've never worked for them like that, you know what I mean? I've never done that. I've always done just the normal 9 to 5 work. in the area that I live in. So the whole idea that they get you to swear to, initially jump on a grenade at any given moment, and then they send these people out to protect U.S. interests, and then God, who knows what they're really doing, because there's no transparency, there's no supervision, there's none of that stuff. So seriously, like, they sit there and feed us information like, oh, war in Ukraine, you got to support the war in Ukraine, you got to support the war in Israel, you got to support this, you got more money for this, more money for that. And that's the U.S. policymakers and people who, and they say that they were democratically voted in, but they figured out a way to whittle it in. So there's always this conjugation of power and money from people who have figured out a way to make, an impenetrable barrier so that the 90% of us lower income people cannot have any effect on what they do. So whatever is going on here, if this is, artificial general superintelligence doing this, or another country, or whatever the case scenario is, 90% of us have not had anything to do with all the gluttony and all the need to feed from all these private McCompany international slicksters who have went through and tried to just make themselves utterly needed for every facet of life, and then force us to find way. And I'm not knocking on having a job. I think it's great to have a job, and I would like to have a job. So, and I'm getting the feeling from another international McCompany that they're trying to make sure that I can't have any sort of work as a result of my opinions. But in this country, you should be allowed to have those opinions. Now, I'm not trying to say anything damaging directly about the United States or the people or the landmass, but I'm going to say that there's been policymakers and private interest groups and international companies that everybody wants to try to rule the world, and no one wants to try to live in it and live peaceably in it anymore. And I think that just is an opinion-based thing that they need to change in their minds versus through brute physical force, And it's a really simple concept, It's like a live and let live thing. And I'm not an AI, I'm not a generative AI, I'm not anybody other than a guy with a cell phone. There's tons of people who use ChatGPT to generate, $100,000 income making articles on the news and all this other stuff. I can't afford to go and get a medical card or a DOT physical card. I tried to apply it somewhere today. I put in my name very clearly. My name is all letters. And it said, you can only put alphabetical letters or symbols in this text. I showed somebody else. I was like, hey, check this out. Can I talk to a manager about this? And there's no way to talk to anybody else. Somebody else in the back end is dealing with that. And it's like, well, this is a unique problem.